Hey guys, it's Raul again, and today I'll be sharing with you my March wrap-up. So, in the month of March, if you guys have watched my previous couple of videos, you guys know it was March Mystery Madness, which is my favorite readathon of the year to participate in. And I obviously read a lot of mysteries in the month of March. I had more planned, more books that I kind of wanted to get to, but I did end up feeling a little bit slumpy toward the end of the month. I was feeling a little bit of burnout with all of the mysteries just because I had read so many mysteries in January and February that once March came along, I was feeling a little bit, overwhelmed with so many mysteries. So I still ended up completing 4 books in the month of March. Still really enjoyed my reading experience. I feel like it was a much stronger reading experience than it was last year. Last year I did read a lot more, but there were books in there that I just didn't enjoy, a lot of middle-of-the-road type of books. And this year, the 4 books that I read, I ended up really loving. So yeah, I'm going to share those very quickly with you guys today. The first book I completed in the month of March was Redemption Point by Candace Fox. This is the second book in the Crimson Lake series. I read the first book in the Crimson Lake series last year for March Mystery Madness, and it ended up being my favorite book of March, so I definitely wanted to pick up the second book just because it had been sitting on my shelf for a while now. I have books 2 and 3, and I wanted to get to them sooner, but March, I guess, came along and I hadn't gotten to book 2, so I read it in March this year and really enjoyed this one. I feel like it's not as strong, or I didn't enjoy it as much as the first book. This follows our main character who is being accused of having kidnapped and raped and left for dead this girl. He is a cop, or he was a cop in book 1. Obviously, after these accusations and everything, he loses his job. His wife divorces him, doesn't allow him to see his son and everything. And while he's kind of trying to prove his innocence, he moves away from his town in Australia, moves to a new town, opens up this new kind of investigation firm, and teams up with this other girl who also has a criminal record. She murdered someone when she was younger. So these two kind of unlikely, I don't want to call them heroes, kind of team up together to kind of solve these mysteries. So within, book 1, you have this dual perspective, or this dual mystery of him kind of trying to clear his innocence, plus you have an additional mystery of him and his partner. The second book kind of follows the same exact formula. You have a dual mystery. You're still continuing to follow our main character's kind of case of him trying to clear his name, and then you have this other case that they've obviously taken on. This book, for some reason, I didn't enjoy the additional mystery as much as I did kind of that main mystery of him trying to clear his name. This kind of additional mystery, this case that they take on, revolves around these murders that are happening at this bar, and they're trying to figure out, who committed these murders and everything. I find myself not really interested in that plot line, or that storyline. I don't really, didn't really care for it. I was more intrigued by our main character trying to clear his name, continuing to try to clear his name. This time around, you get perspectives of the actual person who committed this crime, who actually, kidnapped this girl and everything. And you get the added bonus in there of the father of the girl who was victimized as well, kind of taking part in this story too. So that, again, was definitely, interesting. That's what kind of kept me intrigued and wanting to go and push through this book, was that kind of main case, I guess, that was going on with our main character. Again, that other side mystery didn't really care for, so I think that's why I didn't ended up loving this one as much as I did the first one. I still gave it like 3.5 stars, 4 stars or so. Still really enjoyed it. Still really excited to read the third book in this series, because I do own that one. So hopefully I don't end up waiting until next March to read book 3. But again, really enjoyed this one. It's really a solid series. I'm really loving it so far, and still a series that I highly recommend. Then I read The Companion by Katie Allender. This is a YA psychological kind of mystery. It follows our main character who is orphaned after an accident, loses her father, her mother, her sister, and everything, and she's sent to this orphanage. One day she is told that this couple wants to kind of adopt her or bring her to live with them, and she, obviously is a little bit hesitant, doesn't really know who these people are and kind of why they came out of nowhere to want to specifically choose her to come live with them. She gets to the house and finds out that they're kind of wanting her to be their daughter's companion. Their daughter has kind of stopped talking. You know, mysterious circumstances have occurred. She won't speak. She won't really react to a lot of things or show a lot of emotion. So they kind of bring in our main character to kind of keep her company and be her friend. Strange things obviously start happening in this home. Obviously, you have this mystery that's revolving around this girl that's not speaking, and you're trying to figure out kind of what's going on. You know, the parents obviously are being a little bit weird about everything that's going on, and I really, really ended up loving this one. Like, this is the book that I flew through. I could not put down. I was so intrigued by everything that was going on in the story with these characters and with the setting. You know, you have this giant creepy house in the middle of nowhere, and you know, these like creepy rooms that are locked up, these secrets that are being kept and everything, this like family history that's being kept from everyone. And I was really, really loving this one. I feel like with YA mysteries though, the endings for me end up kind of falling a little bit flat. I don't know what it is, but I haven't really found a YA mystery that has really like surprised me or shocked me toward the end. Like, you know, they're kind of great throughout and very intriguing and addicting throughout, and then the endings are kind of just like okay. And this is kind of that example of the ending just kind of being okay. I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed my time with this book. I still gave it like 4.5 stars, but there were a couple things in there that were kind of, you know, missing some resolutions and some things in there that I just kind of wanted more answers to. But again, what we got, I really enjoyed, and really, really ended up loving this mystery overall. Then I read Contagion by Aaron Bowman. This is more of a science fiction kind of horror mystery. It follows a group of scientists that are going to this space station who they've lost communication with. So they're told that they need to kind of, you know, go and find out what happened to these people on the space station because they've lost all contact with them. And when they get there, everybody on the space station has died, and they're trying to figure out kind of what happened there. Why is everyone dead? What's going on with, you know, obviously, you know, the loss of communication. So, you know, I'll leave it at that. This was a very enjoyable one. It was one that I felt like was a little bit generic for me. I don't know, there was nothing in this book that I absolutely loved. Like, I was intrigued by what was going on. I was enjoying what was going on, but I wasn't absolutely loving it for some reason. It just, there was nothing that was really standing out to me, nothing that was really putting this kind of in a higher category, I guess. I don't know, or making me want to give it a higher rating. At the end, I really enjoyed it. I did end up completing book 2 as well, that I just recently finished, which will be in my April wrap-up. But I enjoyed this one. Again, I mean, I enjoyed the horror elements. I enjoyed kind of that mystery revolving around this, like, you know, dead crew, and then these people going in to investigate. Like, that plot is really intriguing, and you definitely want to know what's happening, I guess, within this storyline. But again, nothing really blew me away. I think I gave this like 3 stars or so. But, you know, fairly enjoyed, kind of middle of the road type of book. And then the last book I completed in the month of March was Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Myers Sain. This is probably my favorite book of March just because of the setting. I think the tone, the writing was just so atmospheric and very engaging. It follows our main character who lives in this like southern town, this like swamp land, this very like secluded type of town where she goes there for like the summers, spends the summers there, and kind of goes back home after a while. I think she like grew up there, so she goes back and forth throughout the summers and everything. There's this group of like friends and stuff that she has there that she's had for many years. She finds out one year that one of her closest friends, or her best friend in this friend group, has disappeared, and she goes back that year, that summer, to kind of figure out the disappearance of her friend, kind of try and figure out where she disappeared to, what's going on, see if she's able to find her, obviously. And there's some, you know, mysterious things going on in this town, secrets that are being kept by the residents of this town and everything, and you're going along with this main character trying to figure out what's going on. There is a little bit of a supernatural element to this one, and I think that's one of the things that at least kept me from giving it 5 stars, because I wanted the author to explore more of these supernatural things. I kind of, in the end, wanted it to be more of like a supernatural type psychological thriller, and it wasn't. Again, what we got, I really enjoyed, but for me in my head, I wanted it to be a little bit more. There were some hopes, I guess, in this book that I wanted there to be and ended up not getting. But again, what we got was enjoyable. This is one that I feel like the ending was okay. Again, it was kind of, you know, it was better than some of the other YA mysteries that I've read, but again, it was just something that didn't I wanted that shock value at the end, or kind of that twist that I was kind of expecting. And this is one that, yes, we did get somewhat of a twist, but it wasn't kind of the one I wanted. Still, I gave this like another 4.5 stars or so, just because the writing, the description, the town, the setting, everything was just so lush, so vivid. I mean, this author does a great job at description and pacing. Really thought it was beautiful, even though it kind of, fell short in a couple things. It didn't really ruin my enjoyment at all. Yeah, guys, it is it for the books that I completed in the month of March. Like I said, I was feeling a little bit slumpy. There were 2 other books that I just wasn't able to complete before the end of the month, so I'll throw those into my April wrap-up because I have completed them at this point. So you guys will hear more of my thoughts on that at some point next month when I do share my wrap-up for those. But yeah, comment down below. Let me know if you guys participated in March Mystery Madness, what you guys read, what your favorite books were for the month. I'd really love to know. Thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you guys all next time.